Hi there, and once again we're in the Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club in Leeds, where today I'll be taking a look at the new KING Forged TEC iron from Cobra. Hi there, Ryan Rastall here, PGA professional and equipment expert for Golfshake.com. And today, as I've said, we're taking a look at the new KING Forged TEC iron. But remember, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, see loads more content to help you play more and play better. So straight into the tech of these irons. Well, you can see they're almost a blade kind of construction, but all the technology, or most of the technology, should I say, lies within. So this is a hollow construction. Meaning that Cobra use microspheres inside there to really tune where the sweet spot is on the face, hopefully giving you more distance and better feel and better shot making ability. So we can see as well that there is a tungsten toe weight here. I've got one length and variable here that I'm going to be hitting. It's got tungsten in both, so the tungsten in the head there is trying to move CG, so centre of gravity is being moved around and brought more behind the hitting zone, so behind the centre of the club face. Now, without that in there, the sweet spot can sometimes shift towards the heel, and obviously no one wants the sweet spot of an iron there. So the tungsten is helping move that away, making these irons really react well out the middle of the face, but also increasing the forgiveness. So this power shell construction, as I've said, means that the head is hollow, and if it was just left like that with nothing in there, it would sound very loud. So that's what the microspheres are there to do, help to dampen sound, but also move weight around inside the head to make it as forgiving as possible. And I think you'll agree, they look pretty damn good. So we're gonna hit some shots with both the one length and with the variable as well. I've got a 7 iron and a 9 iron to test, so we should see some differences between the two different sets, so the variable and one length. So let's go straight into hitting some on the TrackMan 4 using Pro V1 golf ball. So we're going to start with the variable, okay? So this one, as standard, comes with the KBS, I don't know whether you call it money taper, dollar taper, I call it money taper shaft in the light. So this is a shaft that's very popular with a lot of players, and certainly when I'm doing loads of fittings with Cobra, it's a shaft that tend to go to quite a lot. So again, with Connect, like every Cobra golf club does now, and with that slightly thicker grip that Cobra put on as standard, purely because when custom sets are being ordered, they're finding more often than not people are going for slightly thicker grips. So as standard, Cobra put one of those on. Initial look behind the ball is very good. It's quite a long blade. It's quite sort of square at the bottom, and then the toes quite rounded. But it's a nice looking golf club. Sits behind the ball nicely. Doesn't look really low lofted like some 7 irons that you'll get nowadays look like a 4 iron. This doesn't look like that, so we're going to hit a few shots with it, see how it performs here on the TrackMan, and give you some feedback hopefully. But yeah, initial look is very, very good. Feel off the club face is good too. Felt like it came off pretty quickly. Bit of a pull, but the strike was good. Again, decent enough strike, a little bit left of target, but certainly the distance and the flight is good. I mean, it's a little bit longer than I would expect to hit my own 7 iron, but it's, you know, it feels great. Good. So we're getting decent ball speed, decent distance. Again, it's sort of probably 4 or 5 yards carry longer than I would normally hit my 7 iron, but like I say, the head feels great. That forged kind of feel that you get with it is nice and soft. It doesn't feel like a cavity, which essentially it is in the head. It feels more solid than that, and I assume that's the microspheres doing their job. But yeah, it just feels powerful off the face. Very, very good. So let's try the one length version of that as well. So again, in 7 iron. So we shouldn't really see too much of a difference, purely because all the one length sets are built to 7 iron spec anyway. So let's just have a bit of a hit with this one, but essentially, like I say, it should feel pretty much the same. Yep, feels really good, nice and soft. Pretty much identical to the variable. I'm assuming when we start hitting the more lofty club, the 9-iron, we'll start to see a bit of a difference. But yeah, essentially this one, very similar. Bit of a miss-hit there, but still nice and straight, 170 yards, which is what I'd pretty much expect of my 7-iron at the moment. But yeah, great feeling golf club, looks good behind the ball. And if anything, that it's not a really small club head, which you'd normally associate with a forged golf club. There's definitely that little bit of forgiveness you can kind of see there as well, which I quite like. Just hit one more. Cool. Right, let's hit a few with the more lofted clubs then. So let's start with the variable length in a 9-iron, okay? So this is when we can start to see now there's a bit of a difference. So we've got the one length and the variable there. So in terms of shaft length, there's going to be about an inch difference. Yes, there is. So so this, obviously the 9-iron's built to 7-iron spec in one length, but like I say, to start with, variable length is the one we're going to try. So 9-iron, again, the more lofted clubs still look, they look nice and rounded, these ones. So not quite as long a blade as you'd see in the 7-iron, which you'd expect really with a 9-iron. And you know, doesn't look ridiculously low lofted either. It looks just like my 9-iron would. So let's just have a bit of a hit with it. Feels nice and soft again. You know, just like the 7-iron does, that cavity that's in the back of it and the tungsten really working. And like I said before, the microsphere technology that it has really helps make the feel that little bit more solid. But yeah, flight looks good, nice and high. Little bit longer than I would normally hit my 9-iron, but it's like I say, I think with it being, it is ever so slightly less lofted than the one I currently use, so I would expect that a little bit. But very good. So we're going to move on and we're going to hit the one length 9-iron as well and see how that compares. Now, previously when I've used one length golf clubs, normally when you start to use the shorter clubs, because of that extra shaft length, meaning that you get a bit more club head speed, so you're getting basically the same club head speed as you would with a 7-iron, you tend to find with the more lofted clubs that they go quite high. So I'd expect that with this, but let's give it a go. Again, noticeable difference obviously in the length, but still looks really nice behind the ball. Well, you can see straight away where that hit the screen there. It's launched quite a bit higher than the one that we used that was variable. Let's just hit a couple more. But I would always say this to people, if you haven't used one length or tried one length before, go and do it. Don't be scared of it, because it's very good. It's not as difficult to get used to as you would think. I mean, this looks great behind the ball, still feels really good, just like the variable one did. But there is obviously that difference in the shaft length. Very good. So yeah, 3 fairly decent strikes with that. But let's have a look at the numbers on the TrackMan and see how they compare. So let's take a bit of a look at the TrackMan numbers that we've got. We'll start with the 7-iron. So as I've said, I wouldn't expect there to be that much difference between the clubs really, because they're both built to the same spec essentially. And we can see the variable to start with that we hit ever so slightly over 180 in terms of total distance, which, like I said, is a bit longer than I would normally hit a 7-iron, but the loft is slightly stronger than what I would normally use. It's about 4 degrees stronger than my 7 iron, so I would expect that sort of club longer kind of distance, which is basically what I'm getting here, you know, just over, you know, 182, 185 sort of distance with the 7 iron, which is a bit longer than I'd be used to. When we compare that to the one length is slightly shorter, but I think it was just because I hit a few poorer strikes with it. It felt exactly the same off the face. I've just had a couple that have finished, you know, 170-ish. I've got that one over 180 there, but yeah, I think that's more my inconsistency rather than the golf clubs, to be fair. They felt very, very similar when I was hitting them. We can see ever so slightly the one length maybe a bit higher in terms of the ball flight, but and we can see there with variable, the dispersion is a bit tighter, and so is the ball flight. You know, we can see that they're all very similar flights. Now, is that because one's performing different to the other? I don't think so. I think it's more that I've just put a few poorer swings on the one length ones, really. But when we start to look into the more lofted clubs, so we'll see the 9 iron. So we look at variable to start with. Again, over 140, and then one that's gone, you know, towards 160, which is long, really, for me with a 9 iron. I mean, I would normally be around between 140, 142 is kind of where I would hit 9 iron, maybe 145 on a good day. But then with one length again there, you know, it's almost the opposite story to what we saw with the 7 iron. Is that, you know, I've hit those straighter, the ball flights sort of bunch up a little bit more, and they're a little bit better. So again, you've got to take some of the inconsistency of someone like myself out there as well. You know, I'm a professional golfer, but I am by no means a robot, so I'm going to hit some bad shots. But really, I think the biggest thing you can see with the comparison of the two is that the 9 iron in the variable is a little bit lower ball flight. So the in the one length there, look, we can see it just peaks a little bit higher. Now, I certainly find that when I've used one length stuff before, is that the shorter clubs do launch quite high, but to be honest, having used these, the King Forged TEC here, there's less of a difference between variable and one length than I've seen previously. Normally there's quite a big difference in the spin and the launch angle. These are spinning and launching very similar, and as a result we're getting quite similar distances. So normally when I've tried one length, there's been a bit of a difference in the distance purely because of the height and spin. So the shorter irons have gone probably 5 yards shorter than I would normally hit a variable length one. But here we're not seeing that at all. So I would say the technology that they've employed in the different levels, different lengths of hosel, and also moving the weight around in the head too, has meant that the one length now and variable, there's certainly a tighter variance there. So we're not seeing huge differences in yardage there as well. So yeah, that's some of the numbers briefly of the shots that I've hit. Like I say, there's some good strikes in there, but there's also some bad ones like we all hit. But yeah, very much showing that whether you use variable or one length, your yardages are going to be quite similar, ball flights are going to be similar, and like I would always say, go and get properly fitted, try one length, try variable, and see which one works best for you. So there we have it. That's our look into the King Forged TEC irons from Cobra. These are an iron that are going to be very popular in 2020. Let us know what you think of them. If you've got any questions about custom fitting, please don't hesitate to drop us some comments below and we'll try our best to answer them. Hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you all very soon.